everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Se Vuelve Podcast. My name is Monica, and I want to thank you for being here. So for this week's episode, I'm coming in with a little Q&A. I'll be honest, it's been a little bit of a rough or busy week, so I wanted to make sure that I release something because I'm still on my goal of releasing one episode per week. We're so close. We're so close. So I want to make sure that I continue with that. So some of the questions are going to be a little wacky, a little funny. While some of the questions that were sent in are a little bit more thoughtful. The very first question asks, what's your go-to breakfast food? It's going to be a little bit complicated. So in the summer, since it tends to be hot outside, I do prefer to do a breakfast smoothie. My breakfast smoothie usually has kale, celery, cucumber, a little slice of ginger, fennel, blueberries, turmeric as well, and pepper. I usually put like a teensy bit of pepper because usually that helps with the absorption of the turmeric, and a half a cup of pomegranate juice. And it's the good kind, completely just plain juice, no added sugars. And then I also forgot, I do put a tablespoon of flaxseed oil as well. And then usually that's paired with 2 peanut butter rice cakes. And if we want to be specific, my peanut butter has no sugar, no salt. And the rice cakes are the Lundberg brand, which usually I tend to get ones that they don't have any added things to it. I usually do that like Monday through Friday. On the weekends, I usually will do banana or chocolate banana protein pancakes. And that's usually paired up with like a cup of frozen strawberries, a cup of mixed berries, and then a cup of tea. And like I said, that's usually kind of like in the summer. Now that we're kind of transitioning to fall and like kind of like winter, or we are in the fall, I'm debating whether to switch back to overnight oats. And my overnight oats usually have a cup of frozen blueberries. It has chia seeds. Almond milk, or it's any type of milk if you have like coconut milk. And the reason why I'm switching over to to overnight oats is because I'm tired of having to essentially do my smoothies, and then since it's cold and I've been freezing them lately, I just want to have something that's not super cold. And I'll probably keep up with the pancakes over the weekend because they're so good. Essentially, in a complicated way, that's like my go-to breakfast food. All right, so then question number 2 asks, what is your favorite color? Actually, wow, hold on. I lied. It asks, why is your favorite color your favorite color? I like this question. Okay. My favorite color is green, but it's a very specific shade of green, which is that darker shade of green. We're talking about emerald, like forest. And it's so funny because sometimes on Instagram I'll come across these reels of people creating kind of like these favorite color or what it would feel like or what it would look like in nature. And every time I see these videos, I have to like it or I have to save it because it's truly my favorite color. I would say that, I don't know, I've never been, this is really maybe controversial, I'm not a pink girl. And I think it's shout out to my sister, because when we were kids, she loved pink. And I think it's part of the reason why I dislike pink now is that it was like her favorite color. She wanted it everywhere. And I ended up turning to like a different color. But why is it my favorite color? Or why is my favorite color my favorite color? I think it's because, for the most part, green represents the earth, right? It's kind of soothing. It's kind of calm. And that's how I feel about specifically that darker shade of green. It's just so relaxing and calming and soothing to me. If you think about like forests and stuff, which I really do love nature. I think that's why that darker that darker color like calls to me. Before, when I used to just say like green, but now I specifically say like dark green, because I'm gonna tell you, I do not like that like baby puke green. And that's a no for me for that. So I don't like every shade of green, but that that like darker color. I do like mint. As I sit in my room, and my room's kind of like a minty, like sea foam green, and I do like this because it does feel like very peaceful. Originally, my room was, I don't know if anybody knows this. My room was supposed to be like kind of like this dark green. So it was making the room very dark that I ended up switching it last minute. That's kind of the reason, long-winded reason of what my favorite color, or why my favorite color is my favorite color. Hey, shout out to whoever sent that question, because I literally thought I was just going to answer like, what's your favorite color? And that's a little bit more insightful. All right, so question number 3 asks, what's your biggest travel nightmare that happened? Oof. I would say that one time I took a road trip, and this was when I first started to travel, and I forgot like my underwear. So that's like a nightmare now. I have like lists and stuff, and I over prepare and I overpack, and for that specific reason, right? We were literally, I think we left on like a Friday night, and we were coming back like on a I think it was like Sunday we were coming back or whatever. So essentially the next day, that Saturday, I think we had a festival. We were not a festival. It was a concert at this like at the state fair. That's it. That's what it was. It was at a state fair. So there was like no wiggle room to go out and like shop or anything. So essentially, I had to do what I had to do, and I think I washed my underwear that I had or something. I don't remember what ended up happening. What else? What's your biggest travel nightmare that happened? I think, to be honest, having the layover from like England to come back to Illinois, because it was like my first time ever coming back from like being abroad, and I was just expecting to like go to my gate and be on a plane essentially, and just having to go through like immigration, get that all checked, and then having to pick up my luggage again, having to go through TSA, and then mind you, like I think I had mentioned in that episode that my flight was delayed already. That, and then the immigration, I think, took like 2 hours or something to get through. There were so many. So that's why I advise people to, if you can, like, not to have a layover when you're traveling abroad. But now, like I said, I tend to have a plan and overpack and do like plenty of research, so that hopefully that doesn't happen in the future. But there's something that I do like think in my brain as well. What I say to myself, I literally go, what's the most important thing in the car, in case I get like nervous and I'm like, what if I forget something, right? I'll usually will say like, okay, you have your phone and you have your money, right? Your credit cards or whatever. I'm like, you're essentially, for the most part, like set in case you were to forget something with that. Next question. Question number 4. And it's a funny, weird one. Is a hot dog a sandwich? I got these questions like a little while ago. This is a question that I've been thinking about for a while. And I think my answer is no. And you're like, but Monica, there's bread, that. Okay, but when I think about a sandwich, right? When I think about a sandwich, to be like technical about it, when you go to a sandwich shop, I should say, when you go to a sandwich shop, what do most places do? They usually will like cut your bread all the way through, right? And I'm like, okay, and so then you're gonna have your bread on the bottom, your stuff, all your toppings, whatever, in the middle, right? And then a bread on top. That's one. 2, my other reasoning, right, with your sandwich is like your sandwich is stacked. When it comes to your hot dog, to consider it not a sandwich is that the bread is not completely sliced for the hot dog. Okay, so then your hot dog sits on top of the bun, and then your toppings go, obviously. What do you say, hot dog? The wiener, right? The wiener sits on top of the bread, and then you have your toppings on top of like everything, right? So that's why, to me, I don't consider a hot dog a sandwich. But then what is it? I'm like, maybe it's just considered a hot dog. Like it's in its own category of like a hot dog, right? Sandwiches are sandwiches, hot dogs are a hot dog. And that's and that's what I'll say about that. Next question number 5. What's your Roman Empire or hot take? Oof. Okay, and I feel like this one's gonna be like very niche. These are based on like a TV show or based on a film. Essentially, I was a fan of the Vampire Diaries / the originals. And my Roman Empire in that is Caroline and Klaus should have been together. It should have been endgame. That chemistry between those two characters, that's where that energy should have been like focused on, instead of how it ended. And then I have a kind of like a part 2, and this one's a little bit more of a hot take and a little more controversial. Okay, well, we're gonna go there. I was, and I continue to love Harry Potter. And my hot take is that Harry and Ginny should have never been together. And I think, to make it a little bit more dramatic, I think that the Weasley sibling that should have died should have been Ginny. And I think it would have been more dramatic. The only reason why I say this is because, like I said, I've loved Harry Potter since I was like 9 years old. And it's funny and interesting because I don't know if I mentioned this at all. All right, now I'm going there. I used to write myself, and then eventually I like co-wrote Harry Potter fan fiction, and there were characters in that Harry Potter fan fiction that I think, or a character in that Harry Potter fan fiction that I think would have been a much better candidate for Harry as Harry's wife or Harry's like girlfriend. Even though this character, I say this, was a fictional character that I created, and I think it would have been, oh my god, and it made so much more sense, and I don't even want to go into it, but like, it would have been, it's like, it would have been a fucking beautiful, like, poetry to have these, like, two characters, like, or that character, to have that character exist in that world, and, oh man, I just feel like it was, to me, it was lazy writing. I just felt like it was lazy writing and felt like a last minute thing. There was like never any interest. There was never throughout the series kind of like, oh, he looks at Ginny or whatever, you know? I've always thought that situation was more of brother sister situation, and it wasn't until when did that all pop up? Book 6? You see what I'm saying? It was like book 6 that like came to life, and I was like, that's such bullshit. So like I said, I created a character that maybe one day I'll like either talk about it more or publish it or whatever. I think that person would have been like a better fit and a sweet like honor of some other characters. That's my Roman Empire or hot take. Next question number 6. What is an instant mood booster for you? I think an instant mood booster for me is, this is kind of very simple, and I see a lot of like nutritionists and like other people talk about this, to go outside and take in the sun, take in blue skies. So that's like my instant mood booster, is whenever I feel my energy is low and maybe a little depressive or whatever. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go outside. I'm too tired. I feel lazy, whatever it is. The moment that I start walking and I go outside, I automatically feel better. And I know for a fact that I was like, okay, I needed this. I needed this. And those that know that I'm not much of a cold person. I can't stand the cold. The cold it just feels so terrible, like, to me or on my body. I don't know how to explain it. When I do go outside, and when I was doing that as like a routine and I was exposing myself, it didn't feel like the cold felt that cold. It wasn't until it reached like 20 degrees that I was like, okay, I'm done with this. So that's like an immediate mood booster for me. Also listening to specific music that I know will cheer me up. So yeah, those are kind of like my instant mood boosters. Question number 7. Who or what inspired you to study what you studied in college? So those that know and have listened to my podcast know that I studied writing and producing specifically for television. And who inspired me, myself, and I essentially it was me, I guess, because I've always been interested in film and television shows. I was the one that kind of like motivated and pushed myself to go study that, because I'll say this, like, my parents didn't want me to study that. So it was me who, I guess, pushed that. To kind of like expand on that question, maybe I can think about like some either films or television shows that I could say. What was I watching around that time? I was watching like Criminal Minds. I was probably watching like the Vampire Diaries. I don't know if the originals were on around that time. Film wise, Harry Potter. I love Inception. This is a little niche. Night Shyamalan. Well, specifically, and this weather is like reminding me of this, The Village by him. Oh my God. I know a lot of people might not like that film, but I love that film. I remember, like, I think I saw that film in theater, and it's still to this day, like, I think about the ending. Oh, you know what? And I will say this. I tweeted him. One day I freaking tweeted him, and and I don't remember what I said specifically. And I was like, I feel like there needs to be like a part 2 or something, because we were left with this like cliffhanger. And I think he just, I'm getting like chills, because I think he leaves it open to interpretation for you to decide like what you think is going to happen. But I feel like, sir, the way it ends, you can do a second film, and you can see like where, like, you can pick up where that leaves up. And I don't want to go too much into specifics for it, because it's gonna ruin the film, and the film is, oh gosh, so good. Or at least I like it. Yeah. So the films like that, like, so The Village, Inception, I'm not big of a horror film. For thriller wise, I love the Scream movies. I love, at least I've only seen like 1 through 4. I don't even know now. But I like the first one is such a classic. The second one, it's good. Third one, I know some people don't like it. I love Scream films. So what else? I love a lot of films. I think those are like kind of the films that I do have, that I own, or some that I own. TV wise, what else? Because oh my gosh, I was such a like big TV person, and I felt like I used TV and film as like in a, how do you say this, escapism. When I was a kid, I loved like The OC. I watched a little bit of like Veronica Mars. I watched Gossip Girl. I love Charmed. Oh, Charmed, I would say. Oh, Charmed. I love Charmed so much. I was such a big fan of Charmed, and I listened to like their podcasts as well. Boy Meets World. I remember as a kid watching Boy Meets World. I listened to the podcast Pod Meets World. What? Oh, This Is Us. Oh, This Is Us. I so yeah, I'm going through the podcast rewatch that I listened to, right? And This Is Us. Oh, it's such a beautiful story. I know I went on a long-winded tangent or whatever, but what inspired me, because I, having such passion and love for these like TV and films. I think I told you I wanted to be a film major, and then I kind of switched over to TV because it felt a little bit more accessible, maybe. I love media. I love, like I said, I love TV. I love film. I love podcasting. I love sharing this like content or world. To me, that's what it is. It's creating these worlds, or being able to immerse yourself into these worlds, allowing people to escape into them. Yeah, so that's why I kind of went in that direction, and hopefully one day we'll continue to like work and find a job in that direction, because that's where my heart and passion is. Next question. Question number 8. What's something that you absolutely cannot go without? I think I'm just going to keep it simple. And that's a shower. I know a shower is such a like simple thing, but I am that type of person. I need a shower like before I go to bed. And I have done this in the past, like when I've done like concerts or festivals and stuff like that, where we were like staying at a hotel, whatever. I have at one point taken like 3 showers in a day, because whatever, like I have to shower before the event, and then when I come back after the event I have to shower. I'm one of those weird people that I will not lay in my bed if like if I don't shower. And that's because, mind you, I mean, I work with the at a school, right? So there's always like germs and the flu and this and that illness going on. So I have to make sure that when I come home, or even like I said, when I'm traveling, that right before I go to bed to sleep, I have to be showered. Whether that's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I will literally, and as tired as I could be, I would literally come back. I will take my makeup off. I will shower and get myself into bed. And most of the times that has happened, I literally will be so tired that I knock out immediately when my head hits the pillow. So that's my I think one thing that I could not go without is a shower. Next question number 9. How do you keep the peace with people you don't like but have to see on an almost daily basis? I'm trying to think, because is there people that I don't like that I have to see? I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody that I'm like, oh my gosh, I completely cannot stand this person. There's not anybody in my life like that. I guess if I have to do like, okay, answer this question, it's like, how do you keep the peace with people that you don't like? And essentially what I would say is that I just don't interact with people. Yeah, I just don't interact with people. There has been some people that, and I'll say it like this, it's like your actions do not align with my values or how I live my life or whatever. I have a high standard of qualities in my friends. So essentially, to keep the peace, and this has happened, that I'm friendly with you. Like if I ever see you in public, I'm not gonna like cuss you out or whatever, unless the time comes. But no, in public, I just keep things like cordial. I'm friendly, but I'm not your friend. I guess I'll just kind of like keep it at that. Is that I keep the peace by just kind of being amicable and respectful, but at the end of the day, I'm not your friend or you're not in my life. And I'll say that because in the last couple of years, I've done a lot of like introspection and a lot of self-reflection and a lot of growth. I try to be a honest individual, maybe a little bit too honest sometimes. In my actions, I try to do the right thing. And if I know that you are not, or or making bad choices, but I think it's like if it becomes a pattern, right? If it becomes a pattern of your actions where if you've done it more than once, that's where I kind of, I know I kind of mentioned this in the previous episode that I have a core group of friends, and these are like my closest group of friends that I trust, and I will like tell everything. But there's just some people that it's almost like put you in a status, it's almost like a coworker where it's like you just kind of disclose a little bit or whatever. It's to keep like your peace of mind, like my peace of mind. I'm trying to at this moment in my life now, I am seeking like peace. I'm seeking calm. If your actions don't, like I said, don't align with how I'm like where I'm like moving and where I'm going, that's why like I said, I'll keep you at bay. I'll keep you at a distance. Question number 10. Last question. If you could have a meaningful conversation with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be? Mine is kind of like personal, I guess. If I could like have a meaningful conversation with anyone, it would be with like my paternal grandmother. And that's because she died when I was 8, and myself and my siblings and my cousins, we lost her when we were all very, very young. And she was a force. And I feel like I still grieve her. And because as a kid, I didn't properly grieve her. I want to have a conversation with her because she's part of the reason why I feel like I am and my siblings are the way they are. My paternal grandmother and my grandparents, I should say, they raised us, and they were in our lives when we were kids. Like I felt, at least it felt like all the time. And I remember that she was like one of my first teachers. I remember so vividly, like in the summer, learning how to write, her having us practicing our letters. At that age, you're so in your own world. You don't start to essentially like confide. I didn't get to build that much of a relationship. I just feel like we lost my grandmother so soon, and I would love to have like I would have loved to have known what that life would have been, because I think that my life and a lot of our lives, like my siblings, my cousins, and like even my parents, aunts and uncles, like I feel like everybody's lives would have been different if she was alive. That's who I would want to have a conversation with. Also like my godmother, who's also like a second mom to me. Out of everybody in the world, that's who I would talk to, because my grandmother I lost when I was young, and I felt I could have learned so much more from her, and I think that life would have been different. And my godmom I ended up having for a lot longer than that, but like even still now there's things that I do that I think and I know that she would have understand more than than some other people. I didn't think I was gonna cry during this episode, and I think I'm gonna end it there for today. And maybe I'll end up doing like more parts and more questions for like future episodes. As always, I just want to say thank you to anyone who tunes in to listen. I would appreciate it if you could leave a review, and would be grateful if you could let me know what information resonated with you. Please follow and share on social media. The pages are at Se Vuelve Podcast, or my personals at Se Vuelve Monica. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Nos vemos pronto. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.